Hello. Hello, friends. Welcome back to History Makers Training, June 2018. Let's put our hands together and welcome our friends. Woo! All right, my name is Shia, and we're about to start our second section of today, day 5, History Makers Training. And we are now having seminar with guest Mayowa Adelaja. Let's put our hands together once again for her.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I know it's been a long 5-6 days now, so today's the 6th day, so well done guys, congratulations that you made it so far. For me, this theme of HMT questioning is the most important of all. I remember when I just came and Dr. Sunday said there's something more important than your belief in God. And we had a lot of problems with that because I said it on air that in the wrong way, that something that is more important than believing God. And, you know, there was all lots of uproar then. That was sometimes last year. And I couldn't reconcile that anything is more important than God, especially when you're being religious, you don't know the right God, you haven't been introduced to the right God. So there's a lot of challenges with trying to understand that there is something or anything that is more important than God. Your belief in God. Not more important than God. I think that was the mistake that I made then. I said that Dr. Sunday said it's more important than God, rather than say it's more important than your belief in God. And from the beginning of this HMT, Dr. Sunday explained that again. So maybe I don't need to repeat to you guys, but for the sake of those people that are watching us today, hello guys, welcome. I just want to repeat it that questioning is more important than your belief in God. And Dr. Sunday explained it very clearly again at the beginning of this HMT, and he said that in the first place, a lot of us are born into a religion, into a faith. And in that faith, we didn't question it. We believed our parents, we believe what is given to us, and we run with it for the rest of our lives without asking any questions. So we've reached a junction now, we've reached a position now where we can question that and then choose the faith, you know, so have the ability to question. What I wanted to do today is that I want to talk about us as an individual. The reason I want to talk about us is because I've been hearing, and I'm guilty of this as well, all the examples and the problems that are given of society and the reasons that we don't ask questions, we have likened that to other people. So we haven't said that this is, some of us said this is what I do, okay? But a lot of it is like, this is what they do, this is what they. Who are they? Who are this they? I want to know. I don't understand, and I really want us to know who they are. The politicians, they are bad, they are you. You are those people. The people that treat housemaid badly, that's you. It's not anybody, because we are the people that populate this world. We are the nationality of the people from the continent. So I want us all to embody this and think of ourselves as the problem and also the solution. It's not anybody. Even the people that are treating us in a way that we don't like, or they are introducing the wrong thing to us, is because of us failing to take responsibility. And until we identify this, then these problems will continue. Because throughout the seminar, some of the things that we've talked about, that what can we do, how can we do this, it's always, you know, we can do this like this, but who is taking the responsibility? Who is going to champion this? Human being like you, like Thomas Edison. You are the Thomas Edison of this time, of this reality, of this present earth that we're in, and we need to take that responsibility. So I want to come from that angle. This seminar is about yourself, and how can you develop those attributes or those traits that will help you to be able to question everything. I think it is important for us to have those attributes, to have those foundation that will help us to develop those attributes. You might know the questions to ask, but if you don't have the ability, not ability, you have the ability in you, but you don't know how to ask the question, then you're not going to ask the question. You won't feel like you want to ask the question. And what are these attributes? I thought about it all throughout the week because I was going to do critical thinking, and most of my slide is about critical thinking. But even to acquire the ability to be able to criticize things, to be able to criticize is not definitely negative. To be able to assess something and, to look through it, you have to have some things. And what are those things that you need to have? So before I go to that, I know that you guys might have questions. So please feel free to stop me because I can talk for the world. So don't hesitate to stop me or to ask me to clarify something if you're not very clear. If you prefer, you can do it at the end. But I can also answer your question if you feel like you need to ask it at the point of the reference, at the point where I'm saying those things. So feel free. So with this, so I titled this question yourself, start within your agreement. So I'm saying that everything that is happening that we don't like, whose fault is it? Whose responsibility is it? Who made it happen like this? Who turned these things into the way that they are? We did. You did. Not anybody. It's every one of us in this room that caused all the things that we are complaining about because we didn't do the things that we're supposed to do. And now we've reached a stage where now I always say something that if you don't know what you don't know, you can't do anything, right? But that's an excuse. We've seen right from the beginning of this seminar that you have to search, you have to dig for information. You don't just take what anybody gives you or what is said by your family or the authority in your life. We know that now, okay? So now it is our responsibility. It's not anybody that is going to do it. It is us. I want to talk a little bit more. I want to talk a bit about the program. Dr. Sunday talked about it that I do. Where you talk, you ask questions to the religious cabals that we have been doing. Is asking questions, is not being afraid to ask those questions. And how did that happen? What makes that happen within me to be able to do that? Did I just wake up and decide that, yeah, I'm going to question these people, I'm going to talk to them like this? No, I didn't just wake up and feel that way. I woke up by understanding certain things, by understanding that it is my responsibility to ask. I can't wait for Dr. Sunday to ask. I can't wait for other people to come into this world or to wake up to ask this question. I have to do it, nobody else. So anything that you want to happen is not a dream. It's not like it's going to happen when somebody else picks it up. It's only going to, imagine that it's only going to happen when you, as an individual, decide to take the actions to make it happen. So I'm going to talk about this traits or development of self in order to be able to ask questions. And I went through different options of how this can happen, how we can develop this traits, how we can develop this prowess, how we can develop mastery in the ability to be able to ask questions, because we know the methods, we know the questions that we want to ask, but what has to happen within us in order to propel us to be able to ask the question. So that's what we need to look at now. That's what I thought that we should look at. So I hope you guys are in agreement in terms of the understanding. If you don't, please, again, stop me. So, Lydia. Okay. So the first thing here, I have a quote here, and it says, "A life not examined is not worth living." This is from Socrates. And Socrates is one of those philosophers that he himself did not write anything down. It's things that he said. So he didn't write a book. He didn't write anything, but he's known all over the world as one of the greatest minds, somebody that knows and questions himself all the time. And the attributes of an intelligent person is when you examine yourself, you examine things constantly, you examine, did what I say, was it correct? How can I improve this? Did I say the right thing? Without allowing the ego to get in your way. So Socrates asked this question that it says that a life not examined is not worth living. I'd like you guys to contribute to this and just give me your one or two people, well, more than one, to just give me your opinion of what you think this means. And if you agree with this statement that a life not examined is not worth living. Okay. Who's the other? Okay. We have it back.
I have to relate to myself. That's all about self, the topic. Many years ago, I kept having issues with people. I thought people were my problems. Little argument, it will end in quarrel. A lot of times I get furious, so I thought people were actually the problem. So when there's a measure I used in examining myself. I asked myself if I have problem with 1, 2, 3, 4 persons, I think I have the problem. So that was what I use in the measure I use in examining myself, and that was where my journey of self-examination and trying to reform myself and renew myself. So when I started walking out of some kind of depression and reduce kind of malice and problems I was having with people then, though I'm still in the process. Yeah.
Thank you. So, very good. Thank you. Somebody else.
Yeah, I will start with myself as well. I used to work alone, so I'm used to be in my office all alone, do my own thing. If I want people to do something, I jump. But this my current office now. I'm working with somebody, and we share the office, and he's a Nigerian, born in England. He's got a lot of issues in his 50s. He bumped his family, his parents, he doesn't want to know anything about them. So me now, talking about my kids, become an issue to him. So the way he can get to me is to use my accent against me. Not my English, but my accent. So I was having problem. So there's someone above all of us. She's black, but she's got British accent. So and I'm a Christian. He's not, he doesn't believe in God. My other person, she's a Christian, but she's not as sound as me. So now, what I did, I have to listen to Pastor Sunday Adelaja's message on why people hurt you or something like that. I think I shared online. So that actually helped me to just deal with myself, take that upon myself, just let him have his way, whatever I want to reason or anything. So I did myself first. So it's like, I don't just live anyhow. If it was before, I wouldn't be able to manage. But after listening to that message, I sent the tape to my other one because we both having problem with him. So she now come back to me, she texted me, I still have it in my phone. Thank you very much. That message actually helped me. That message helped her and also helped me. So that means I examine myself. It's not the issue. I have to do something about myself.
Brilliant. Thank you.
A life not examined is not worth living. I think when you don't examine things that happen in your life, both positive and negative, it means there will be no change. You will just live a routine life. and you will just leave this world the way you came. Nothing will change. It will just be like you just exist, but there's nothing you did. Yeah, because you don't tend to see things from another angle. What you know, just stay like that. You don't examine why did it happen like this, or what can I change. You just live a routine life until you die. Then, that for me, that's why I understand it's not worth living, because nothing changed. Everything is routine.
Well done. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Rosa. I once worked with a boss who had it as part of his routine to get other members of staff to tell you about your weakness. We used to have those meetings like maybe whenever he wants to have them. We work together in the team, but once in a while, he wants everyone to tell the other person, the things they're doing right and the things about them that they're not doing right. And for me, the first time we had that meeting, it was really challenging for me because, you feel that everyone is happy with you because you come into the office, everyone is smiling, you're getting along with everyone. But people around you pick one or two things about you that they may never tell you until they find the opportunity to do that. And I agree with what Socrates said, because it is only when those things come to you that you begin to question yourself. If you don't have the habit, if you have not cultivated the habit of stopping yourself sometimes to, examine yourself. So I think that change only comes when we can ask ourselves certain questions about the way we're doing things, if it's right, how people see it. So I agree with him.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I think you guys are actually giving us a different point of views on this, and it comes from you understand that it comes from within. So your responses is not about what somebody else did. It is who you are. So if somebody else comes and do something to you, it's not about them. It is about you and how you interpret that. So in taking this as well, let's extend it further, because I think personally we know how to deal with one person or individual or a family in this way. But how do we deal with this as a nation? Or how do we deal with this as a community? So you're not dealing with just one individual, you're dealing with this being responsible. You're responsible for yourself in terms of your attitude and how you take things. But how do you take responsibility for no electricity? How do you take a responsibility for bad governance? How do you take responsibility for homelessness? How do you take responsibility for those things? So you can deal with your colleague at work, and you can deal with other people that you interact with daily. Can you extend that further to other things in your wider environment? So the country, the nation, your community, how do you deal with that? So this is what I want us to look at. So our life is not just consisting of our relationship with our loved ones or our colleagues, it's also the environment in which we live. So if I see that where I live in this community, there's a lot of trash there, this community has a lot of garbage and people are not cleaning up properly, how do you take responsibility for that? The same way that you take responsibility in your relationships. So you know that it's up to you to take the responsibility in a relationship with somebody, either as a colleague or as a loved ones. But then how do you take responsibility within a country or a nation? That's what we need to extend to now that we have this knowledge of questioning. So we have to ask ourselves those questions, that everything is your responsibility. I'll keep repeating this, that everything is your responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the government, because you are the government. It's not the responsibility of your parents, especially when you've reached an age of accountability, because now you are the parent. You create yourself. Dr. Sunday mentioned that. So I'll move on to the next slide. We might come to this every now and then. Hopefully we have enough time. Okay? Okay, so I went and looked and searched that how do we become who we are? You know, I always ask myself a lot of questions. And I asked myself the question, especially when Dr. Sunday reminded us what really affected us yesterday, I think it was, when he told us the story of the man that went to heaven and asked those questions. And, you know, in his mind, he was asking God the question that he's going to go to heaven because he's a believer, but the homosexual is not going to go to heaven because he's an homosexual. And God said, you didn't know where they're coming from. So where do we come from? Where do we come from? We come from who we are, ourselves. But how do we become ourselves? I asked that also in Dr. Sunday's book, Who Am I? Why Am I Here? How did you become who you are? Is from your parents' upbringing, from your environment, from all these things, that's what makes you who you are now? Are you agreeing with that? Or are you going to make changes from that? So do you accept that you are who you are, or you accept that you are who you want to be? Rather, you know, the question is, do you accept that you are who you are, or you are who you want to be? Anyone to answer that? Do you accept that you are who you are because of that's your upbringing, that's how you grew up, that's your understanding? This goes back to the worldview as well, and values. You know, everything that's been taught here in the last few days. So do you accept that you're who you are, or you are who you want to be? I think, okay, so.
I accept that I am who I want to be from the teaching that we have got here so far. We have learned to devalue some of the qualities that we have from childhood, or some of the belief that we have. For example, we learn about paganism. It's all about believing, because these things, there are no we ourselves that believe in it, we don't have any explanation on how to prove that these things we believe is the reality. So from this teaching about paganism, building yourself, then you can come out from what your society or what your parents make you to be what you want to be, by changing some of these beliefs. And how do you change them? By this critical analysis, this systematic method of thinking. And then some of the things you see that this belief doesn't actually work, because you can't prove it. The same thing go to this our religious things that is happening in Africa, that you believe in miracles, or God sending some destiny helper to you. You will just sit there without doing anything, and you keep on praying, expecting for that destiny helper, expecting for that miracle to happen. Meanwhile, there is something that you have to change in you to receive that thing that you have been expecting. So for me, I think through this critical analysis, through this critical thinking, we can be what we want to be, not what we are made to believe.
Excellent. Okay. There's a young man there.
It's I think for confidence in your own worth or ability is to be who you are rather than who you want to be. Because I think if you accept who you are, then it allows yourself to just accept you just maybe just go with, not even that, like go with the flow in a sense, like that. Just allow what just to let your mind to focus on what's going on. Like it says, life is predictable. So yeah.
Well done. I think to some extent, IK just kind of cracked something there. If you guys didn't notice, the answer to this is not one or the other, okay? For one, you are who you are now, right? But you are who you want to be. In the sense, exactly, you create yourself to be who, and this is about consciousness. So yes, you identify who you are now. You don't say, well, I didn't come from Nigeria. For me, I wouldn't say I didn't come from Nigeria. I'm not a female. I don't have certain challenges. In order for you to be who you want to be, you have to identify who you are now. So it's not a right or wrong answer. It's just that you must identify who you are right now, but who you are is also who you want to be, because you're a conscious being. So through questioning, you have to ask yourself, who do you want to be? How do I want to spend my day? You know, what you are right now is what your decisions. For example, you made a decision to come here to HMT. You're sitting here right now, and you decided to listen or to come to this seminar. You could decide to do other things. Those are true your creation. Your creations are your decision and the actions that you take once you make those decisions. So it is important to know who you are, self-acceptance. I'll go through that in a minute, and also to create yourself to be who you want to be. So everyday questioning is who you want to be. So you have to ask yourself this question: do I want to live in this type of world where people don't tell the truth, where a few people are the elites? Is that what I want? And if I don't want that, what am I going to do to make changes? How am I going to make that changes? Do I care enough to make those changes? You know, do I want my children to see this? So this is questions that you ask yourself. But we're going to go to the 6 pillars of self-esteem. The 6 pillars of self-esteem that I'm going to go through is by Nathaniel Brandon. So there's a guy called, is a scientist, a psychologist, and his name is Nathaniel Brandon. And he says that in order to have self-esteem, you must have these 6 pillars. And I think self-esteem is really important. And it's important in knowing who you are, in accepting other people as well. It's important in knowing, I think self-esteem is really important. It's important in knowing who you are and accepting other people as well. So not just saying, I am who I am, and everybody else is, you know, whatever they are wrong. You know, accepting them, remembering what Dr. Sunday said in the story, that God said that you don't know their story. So is this part of self-esteem for you to know that you don't know other people's story, but you know your own story, and you're going to use your own life to be the person that you want to be, to make the changes that needs to happen. So not expecting changes from other people, but expecting changes from yourself. So the definition of self-confidence, this is a basic dictionary definition. I think that Livio looked confused. Livio,
I'm not thinking about what you're saying.
Okay.
I read the book, by the way.
Okay. So the 6 pillars of self-esteem. So Livio would know this. So the dictionary definition of self-esteem, it says confidence is own worth or ability and self-respect. Okay? But it's much deeper than that. You know, it's not just your own worth and your own ability or your own self-respect. How do you acquire those things? You know, I find English a little bit difficult sometimes, because they say confidence, you know, self-esteem is confidence in own worth. Do I even know my worth? How do I know what is my worth? How do I identify my worth? It seems very ambiguous. And maybe this is some of our challenges, because if we don't know these things, then how can we move forward in the knowledge that we have? And, you know, own ability. Do you know your ability? Have you tested your abilities? You want to say something?
Yes, you just mentioned something profound just now. In the sense that now, for you to know your worth or ability, now, from what perspective? From the definition of others, from a language that is not your own language, that is not even speaking to you, from a borrowed language that even in your own vocabulary is not explicit in explaining who you are. I believe this is also the basic challenges in Africa. Most African countries are dealing with lingua franca that has nothing to do with them, that doesn't even explain the content of who they are as a people. And with referencing their everyday life in those languages actually destroys them more than helping them to solve the issues that they are facing.
Brilliant. And now the question to you is that you identify that as a problem. What are you going to do about it? What is going to happen? What's going to change? Because you know that now, yes, that this is a problem. You lived through that generation. So what are you going to do?
That's good that you mentioned that. Unfortunately, it takes capacity. And now that kind of capacity, because now you find that it's not an individual problem. It's a problem of collective. It's a problem of a nation. It's a problem of a people, a group. If it's an individual thing, you can make change because you've started asking questions for yourself. If in such instances, you've started the process of redefining yourself as a person. What of the next person near you? What of the group of 2, 3, 4 that are within your own sphere of influence? What of the community at large? And what of the nation at large and the continent at large? For instance, in 1 or 2 countries, they have started addressing this issue in Africa. South Africa have started a couple of years ago. They introduced, for instance, on the language question, they made sure that 12 of their indigenous languages have now become official languages. And they are using this to address, redefining those languages, picking up some investigations into updating those languages, even to the modern technological society. They are doing investigation in those languages and making sure that they convert the content of their educational system within the spheres of those languages. Now, what of the other countries? What are they doing about it? And this is not something an individual will do. It's something the government has to do. There are challenges that an individual can handle. There are challenges that the government can handle. And this is one of them. Because now it's based on this that you can be able to define now for a people who they are. Otherwise, it will take generations before we arrive at that point.
Yeah. The way I'm saying it personally, from my perspective, is change starts from me. And I personally believe I can only deceive myself. You can't deceive me. So the reality is to create change, or maybe not to say to create change, to be part of, to contribute to change your society. I have to start from me. So right now, with all these plans I've got, I want to do this, do that, I need to focus on me, because over the years, I've lived the life of living for money and pleasure. So for me to make impact out there, influence out there, I need to focus on myself and do a lot of work on myself, a lot of personal development on myself. And this is what I've been able to gather from this program, that I really need to work on myself. There's a lot, and now I can see where the hard work comes in. Because when we talk about hard work, people always get the physical side of it. But I really understand now that actually proper hard work, you see what we just did today, just the little maths, that alone just stretch out my brain, you know. So to be quite honest, I actually fully understand what hard work is all about. Because we kind of used to think that hard work is when you like I've just said it anyway, the physical labor of it. But it's the mindset of how you engage yourself in a lot of researches. Because actually, if you want to make impact out there and influence out there, there's a lot of research you need to do. You need to study a lot. So the bottom line there is, change starts from us. If we want to make impact out there, if we want to make influence out there, it starts from us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say something, going back to what Brother Vitali said. First and foremost, we should remember that the title or the name of this training program is called History Makers. So we are actually makers of history. And there was a little experiment that was done in this class, but that wasn't prepared for. And you remember when Pastor Sunday came with the green tea and said, does anybody want to try it? At first, everybody, no, until it was Livio that said, oh, let me try it. And at the end of that class, everybody but me tried that drink. That is how a movement starts. The mistake we keep making, we keep referring to government. I think that is one mindset I'm saying we because I'm part of the problem. We need to change. Because government is not made up of brick and mortar. It is made up of people. And those people were produced by the same system that we live in currently that we're trying to change. So if we keep saying government, we'll just be wasting our time because they don't have the ability, the knowledge, the intelligence to make that change.
That's right.
So going back to even this movement that Dr. Sunday has started, the movement against deception in the church, watch at Pastor Sunday's old videos when he started Facebook. You will discover that when he started, maybe only 2 people keyed into this program, only 5 people. But what happened? One thing I learned was he persistently continued day after day, night after night. He was coming on 2 times every day. And he did it for 1 year, regardless of whether somebody was tuning in or not. He just kept saying and kept teaching and kept teaching. And gradually, one reached one. One reached one. One reached one. Today, we are all over the world. We are reaching 100 and something nations of the world that they call themselves DSA family. How did that family start from? One person. Yeah. Christianity that we are part of today, how did it start? One person. There is no movement in this world that has started with 2 people. One person took the initiative, did something, and refused to stop. Martin Luther started the Reformation, took the courage to challenge the Catholic Church that was like the superpower of the whole world. One man. And today, we have hundreds and thousands of denominations that call themselves Protestants. So, we should know that whatever we want to do, like he said, change starts from you. But after you have changed yourself, it doesn't stop there. You now start to take action and start to speak. Whether they're calling you crazy, whether they're calling you stupid, people will tell you it didn't work. You just keep doing it and keep doing it. And I tell you, before you know it, like what you say, I don't know much about the story of South Africa, but I can bet you the reformation that took place in South Africa started from one person. He brought the idea, took it to the parliament, discussed it with people, and kept pressing it, and kept pressing it. Then people started buying the idea. People started buying the idea. Before you knew it, okay, let's do it. And boom, the reformation came. But when we keep saying, because that's the challenge Nigerians have, and I was very guilty. Every time the government, oh, Buhari, oh, the governor, oh, the... I tell you, sir, most of us sitting down here today, we are more intelligent than the people sitting down in that office. No, what I'm saying, I mean, sorry for the word, when I said more intelligent, it means we have some information that they don't have, that can change that nation. So we should we should try and stop relying on the people in that place. Because once they see that you have what it takes to change something, people begin to gravitate towards you. And once they know that you have people behind your back, they come for you.
Thank you very much, Christian. And I think Christian has said it all, but I just want to just say a little bit more about this. And this is the whole seminar. This is the whole thing that Dr. Sunday has taught us. So on day 6, I'm still surprised anybody mentioning government in any case. Because this whole seminar we started with that, you know, it's not anybody. There's no government. There is no anything. It's just you. You are the only one here. And exactly what you're saying, sir, or anybody else that have that thought. You came here. Dr. Sunday is not a government. How many lives is he changing? This is somebody that cannot even travel like you guys can. And he's changing life. You came here because you saw him online. So if we take South Africa as a case study of what example that you gave, who is the government in South Africa? Are those people better than you? Are those people more intelligent, the people that decide? Are they different from you? Do they have a superpower? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. It's good to ask questions to others to get clarity. But you also need to get clarity about yourself. Because remember that Dr. Sunday was saying to Emmanuel about what's the purpose, what's your purpose in life. Your purpose in life is to discover yourself. And from the point where you start doing something you believe in because you've discovered yourself, other people will follow. Just like you have followed Dr. Sunday to Ukraine. How many people have been to Ukraine before the name Dr. Sunday or seeing him online? Anyone here, have you been to Ukraine before?
I've never been.
Is anybody been to Ukraine before Dr. Sunday? No, before Dr. Sunday. Okay, so is Dr. Sunday in any political party? So how is he able to get you to leave the comfort of your home to come here? Because it took responsibility. And I learned responsibility from Dr. Sunday. Responsibility to myself, responsibility to God. If you're a Christian, God did not just bring you here. He did not just say, right, I want to increase the numbers of people in the world. So I'm just going to add another person to be born by this person. Purpose, because it took responsibility. He saw the things that were wrong in society. He's not saying that I'm not going to enjoy it anyway. I'm not going to Nigeria. I have my own home. I have my own wife. I have my children. Why should I care about what everyone is doing? It took responsibility. And even up to yesterday, last night, he was telling us that he didn't know how to do this. He didn't know how to do that. He created himself. So for South Africa, it's not government. You are the government. You've seen the problem, then look for the processes to change it. What Christian just shared with us on how Dr. Sunday's persistence, I followed that model. You know, it's not convenient for me, or it's not the best thing. It's not the most relaxing thing. Somebody that like pleasure, like Emmanuel, to do live broadcasts every day. But there is a purpose why bigger than me. There is something that I want to change. I want to make sure that people are not afraid of another person. I want to know that, I want people to believe that God loves them, you know, regardless of who they are. God has made up their mind, his mind. So it's not going to be anybody calling curses onto you or anybody saying anything that is going to change God's mind. God loves you. So this is the reason why I do it, and I do it every day. You know, when I don't do it every day, I'm wondering, okay, I'm not like Dr. Sunday. I'm not Dr. Sunday. He does it every day no matter what. I can do it every day as much as I can, but even now that I need to replenish myself, I paused to learn and then come back. So I'm not waiting, and I don't think we should all wait for anybody to do anything that came to your mind as a burden. Because that's in there is your purpose. That in there is what God's giving you to resolve. So there is no government. Forget about any government. Forget about any changes that you want to make. You are the person that you're going to make it. It's not anybody out there. I hope we'll be able to do the 6 pillars. So I move to the next one. I move to the next pillar. Okay. So this is not in the order, as you can see. That says 3, because I had to rush this. Maybe I should. Okay, this is 1. All right, let me go. So the number 1 is that the practice of living consciously. So can somebody just read that, Christian, please?
Number 1, the practice of living consciously. Be aware of everything that affects your values and goals and act with awareness. 1, how to be...
No,
okay.
That's a book reading. Thank you. So if you understand this, please, you can explain it. You can feel free to explain it. But I just want to point out a few things that this is a practice. It means that this you would do for the rest of your life. It's not something that you would do once or you would do a few times and that's it. It means that you would always, every moment of your life, you would live by practicing this, living consciously. You know, I'm one of those people that I thought until I met Dr. Sunday that I lived consciously. And then when I met Dr. Sunday, I realized that I was totally dead. I didn't live consciously. I was doing what everybody else is doing. Even in the day-to-day activities, I might not even observe that there's certain things that's happening in my surrounding, or I'm just totally indifferent to what is happening. So understanding that in order for you to have a self-esteem, to know who yourself, to be confident, to be able to do the things that you need to do, you have to live consciously. So you have to practice living consciously. So be aware of everything that affects your values. Yesterday we talked about a chicken or the hen in terms of values and worldview. So first, this one is talking about values. So what are the things that affect your values and your goals? Do you even have a goal? Or you're just waking up every day and trying to make the next day and the next day or the next day? So it means that in order for you to be confident, to have self-esteem, it also means that you have to have goals. Because if you don't have goals, then you're not living consciously. If you don't have goals for short-term goals, long-term goals, you're not living consciously. If you're not deciding that today I'm going to do everything well, I'm going to make a difference in society, and this is how I'm going to do it, then you're not somebody that has self-esteem, and you're definitely not living consciously. You're just waiting for anything to happen. And that is what happened with animals. The prime example of an animal that lives unconsciously is a dog. You know, a dog is not making plans that, oh, tomorrow I'm going to do this, I'm going to change my world. But if we look at our lives and the lives of a dog, I think it's very similar, especially if you're not living consciously, or any animal. So if you wake up today, you're not deciding from before today what you want to do this month, how you're going to do it, what are your values, what are the things that are important to you, what are my goals, and act. You see, it says act with awareness and act on them, then you've already broken one pillar. You know what pillar is? It's something that holds up something, a pillar, you know. Like, for example, this could be a pillar. So it holds up things. So if you knock this one out, it means that you, the house, you are not going to stand. And you're not going to stand to be able to question other people. You know, we know questioning is important. We are now, we've got the zeal to question. But if you don't have this as self-awareness, values, affects your, know what affects your values and your goals, have values and have goals. So that means that you have to have values and you have to have goals. So if you don't have this, first of all, that pillar is knocked down. It means that you cannot stand. And if you cannot stand, it will be very difficult also for you to ask questions. It will be very difficult for you to ask questions to other people, because you yourself, as your house, you know, pillar that holds up your house, who you are weak because one pillar is broken or one pillar is not erected properly. So it makes your house wonky, which is you. So you have to practice this. And I have put here books of Dr. Sunday that might help you with this. So one book that I think would, How to Be in the Here and Now, that will help you to be conscious. So if you want to work on this pillar yourself, there are other books that you can check out. But if you want to work on these pillars, I just selected 3. And the next one is Excellence, the Key to Elevation. So that would also help you, and how to keep your focus. So those are the books that I think would help. There are other books. Dr. Sunday has written many books. So there are other books I think that will help. But these 3 are my own choice. So you can decide to look at the books as well that will help you. And you can also read the book that this is coming from. So that's the first one. I want to move on fast. Has anyone got any questions on this or what I have said? Or they want to add anything before I move on? Okay. All right, I move on. Okay, the second one is the practice of self-acceptance. Okay, self-acceptance doesn't mean that you don't improve yourself. You know, it means that you accept. We talked about that in the beginning of this segment, where we said that, you know, you accept yourself. You know, it's not just about who you want to be, who you are as well. So accept who you are so that you can know the things that are wrong. So accepting myself is knowing that, you know, sometimes I can be quite fussy. Sometimes I am loud for an environment. I know that. Does that make it good? No. So what can I do to improve on that is my next step. So self-acceptance does not mean that you cannot improve. It doesn't negate self-improvement. It just says you know who you are right now, you know how you are, you know what your challenges are, you know what your strengths are, and you want to work on the things that needs improvement. So the practice of self-acceptance, and this also is a practice. It means that you have to continuously examine yourself. Remember the first quotes, a life unexamined. As long as you breathe, you have to continue to examine your life. So, do you want to read this, please, for us, Chris?
Number 2, the practice of self-acceptance. Accept who you are without criticism and judgment.
Yeah. So, is that clear? So, so for example, if you are in a certain way, you are a certain way where you don't like that way. I don't like me always confrontational, for example. I don't like that. I'm always confrontational. So I would examine that okay, I'm confrontational. Why am I confrontational? How can I improve myself so that I'm not confrontational? But I know that I am confrontational. I am not proud that I'm confrontational, but I would not condemn myself for being confrontational. I wouldn't judge and condemn myself for that. I would go on and say, okay, how can I improve on this? This might be a good trait for something else, but not for this situation. So this is a question. This would help you to also question yourself about the things that you need to improve. There's a little image there that says, be yourself, accept yourself, value yourself, forgive yourself, bless yourself, express yourself, trust yourself, love yourself, empower yourself. So self-acceptance means, it's not saying, okay, I'm like this, I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to be like this. No, it's saying that you still have to do all these things. There are actions that you need to take to as a practice of self-acceptance. And again, I have some books that will help you with this. No one is better than you. You know, this is more about time, to know that we all have equal time in life, you know, so no one is better than you in terms of time, but there's other information in this book that will help. The law of difference. You know that there are differences in us. You know, we have differences. You know, I'm not like this person, I'm not like this other person, but what I can improve is universal, is truth. You know, if I don't like certain things, most likely other people wouldn't like that thing either. Or they might like it. It's okay also for them to like it. So understanding these things would actually help you to be able to ask the right question and develop your critical analysis. But it always has to start with you. And then there's another book there. The third book is Tips to Self-Fulfillment. So this would also help you. Of course, again, there are other books that you can use. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay. Oops. Oh, we need number 3. Okay, number 3. Go on.
Number 3, the practice of personal responsibility. Take responsibility for the decisions you make and the things you do.
Okay, good. So, you see, this is one of the things, you know, like Dr. Sunday have challenges when he was in school where he was telling us that they would say, you know, certain words, especially in English, and those words would start from like a B, and then P would be the letter that starts it. You know, like pharmacy, for example, and then there's no F. You know, like, where is the F? You know, this doesn't make sense. And then they would, you know, knock him on the head. This is one of the things where we need to look at the letter. And this is another thing that I learned from Dr. Sunday, is that he understands the Bible differently because he understands the words, the meaning of words. So what this says to me, take responsibility for the decision you make and the things that you do. Would you, if you don't, it means that you need to make decisions. For me, this is the first thing I look at. Now, before I didn't, because I was thinking I didn't make any decision. So that relieved me of that. Do you understand? So, but it doesn't relieve you of that, because I would have no self-esteem if I don't make any decisions. So for me, this is telling me that I need to make decisions. And you've heard the phrase that says that not making a decision is actually making a decision. Has anyone heard that? Yeah. So you're actually making a decision anyway by not making a decision. So why don't you then make a decision? And then when you make that decision, take responsibility for it. So in the case, I'm sorry, I'm going to use the case of South Africa again. You already know that there's a problem, and you can decide and take responsibility. You can decide that this is a problem in this community, in this environment. I faced this problem. It was a challenge for me. I don't want other people to face it. And you take the responsibility. You make and take responsibility for the decisions you make and the things you do. So for what you do as well, we would never be able to say, is the government. You know, because it's not the government. There is no government. It's just me and you. You know, that's it. So nobody will say, well, I did this because of that. There is no issue where you do something because of anything. It is your responsibility and it is your decision. And to be the full self, a confident self, you have to have this practice, the practice of personal responsibility. We all have to take personal responsibility for what we do. It's not about our peer group, it's not about our family, it's not about our parents, it's not about our friends, it's not about the community that we're in, it's about our decision and what we choose to do with that. So the books again that I have here, because I think with everything you can develop in all of this area. So you have to go back and do your own research and development. You know the areas that is important to you. All 6 should be. But it says, the books I've chosen here, The Sin of Irresponsibility. You know, it's a book Dr. Sunday have, so you can go through that. Your greatness is proportional to your trials, crisis, and tribulation. So here, again, I'm going to go to the South African issue where you found out that there's a problem, right? That is your trial. It was a crisis for you. When you're growing up, it was a crisis. It was a crisis for me. You know, it was a crisis that I didn't understand certain things because I have to translate from one language to English. It was challenging for me. But did I do anything about it? I just grew up, get out of that system, and then just go about my own business. I didn't take responsibility. Like Dr. Sunday is taking responsibility. He's saying Nigeria will be resolved. We all know, a lot of us that don't even believe in Nigeria anymore, we start to believe in Nigeria because we are taking responsibility. Dr. Anu said yesterday that he's taking responsibility for value system. You have to now start thinking, what were your crises? What were your trials? What were your tribulations that you want to take responsibility for? So yes, Shinwei.
Even I'm surprised that he's even using South Africa as a case study because it's directly affecting him, affecting his next generation.
Yes.
What the South African people, I won't say government, brought into the system. They didn't want their language to go. They didn't want their children to get lost. Your own son is already even part of the system. He's learning the language there because he's in the school system. So it's enough reason to even challenge us to do something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Okay. Anyone else, or should I move on? Okay. I'm going to move on. 4.
Number 4, the practice of self-assertiveness. Honor your wants, needs, and values, and don't be afraid to speak up for things that are important to you.
Okay. This is very important to me. Self-assertiveness. You know, when you think about people that are self-assertive, sometimes you get it wrong by thinking that the person just is controlling or is pushy or, you know, is demanding or any sort of things you might think. But this is very clear here. It says, honor your wants, your needs and values, and don't be afraid to speak up for things that are important to you. So first of all, I have to think myself that what is important to me. Because I cannot practice this if there is nothing that is important to me. And a lot of us are indifferent. We say that this is a problem, this is this, but are they important to you for you to do something? If they are not important to you, we wouldn't do something. But if they are important to you, you will do something. I mean, there's so many things that we do something about. It's because they are important to us. So in order to be able to practice self-assertiveness, then I also have to have things that are important to me. So I will go back and list the things that are important to me. It is very important to me. I'll share some of mine with you. It is very important to me that there is equality in gender, and not in the way the feminists are saying it, that, you know, we take the same equal amount or anything, in a different way. So I am thinking, how am I going to express that? How am I going to challenge that with society? I am thinking about that. I am working on it. It is important to me that nobody believe that some other human being is greater than them and be subservient to that person without knowing who they are. I think that we should care for each other, we should respect each other, we should serve each other, but not be subservient, you know? So those things are important to me. And I cannot practice the self-assertiveness unless I know how to address this. How to address, number 1, to honor what I want, to needs and what I value. What are my values? So I have to know what I want. I have to know what I need. I have to know also what my values are. But it's not just about myself. Also, what is good for the society? What is good for the people around me? What can improve a situation? What can improve my environment? So this is how we can practice this self-assessment, by identifying your wants. Do you know what you want? A lot of people always say, I don't know what I want. It's because you didn't assess it. You didn't question yourself. that what do I want? Why do I want these things? How can I get these things? So this practice is important. First of all, you need to find out what you want. You need to find out what your needs are. And then you need to find out what your values are. Then don't be afraid to speak out. So put it in priorities. Okay, what do I need to speak out on this? How do I need to speak out on this? Who are the audiences that I need to go to? Who are the people that can help me with this? You need to do that self-assessment. That is about questioning yourself again. This is all about questioning yourself and looking for solution. Do you want to say something?
Yeah,
Okay.
If I understood you right, knowing what you want and be able to speak out, and if everybody starts by what they want or coming out to speak out about what they want, don't you think we're going to have a lot of problems?
No.
Maybe you can
Anybody else want to
we
say?
can explain that better, because we can all want different things and come out to speak about what we want, and we will make no headway.
Okay. Okay. Chris wants to try.
Yeah, I just want to say something based on what she said. That's exactly the American society. Everybody say what they want.
Have they achieved anything from it?
They're
America
the word
is the
greatest.
country in the
Well,
world.
everybody's saying what maybe it's been on the aspect of something you might say you want, and it might benefit the society. That's when
Yeah,
but it's something that might not benefit. Like now, she brought says she's looking for a way of looking out for gender equality.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Like the example she just gave to us, she says she that's what she wants.
Yeah.
She wants to front for women. I'm a woman. I might
I'm not
be against
fronting for
it.
women.
You understand? That is so. I might not want it. She wants it.
Yeah.
Then how do you think we're going to achieve results
Okay.
in wanting that different things?
Okay.
In the self-
That's why we have a democracy where people are free to express
So it's an
themselves.
expression, it's not something you want to implement.
No, even if you want to implement it, remember you are in a country of 200 million people. There is no way that a group of people will not want the same thing that you want. You understand? Now,
And on the
but-
other ones will
hold on. You understand? Might not want what you want. So, it's a good question because
It is a good question.
Hold on, please. Yeah. No. It's you see. Everything starts with a want, right?
Yes.
Everything starts with you as an individual, because you don't know what people are thinking in their mind. You don't know what people desire. You don't know what people want, but you just feel that it is for. Okay, let me use Rosa Parks for example. Blacks were being victimized. You get on the same bus, but the whites sit in the front, the black sits. This black don't even see, they stand behind. But Rosa White, for whatever reason, just I think this thing is getting too much. Today, she wasn't even thinking of the society. I don't want to stand. I want to sit. But you know what? A lot of people have always wished to sit, but nobody was bold enough to come out to say it or to take an action. So that day she refused to get up for a white man. And that led to the civil rights movement and gave birth to Martin Luther King. Just one woman. So what I'm saying is this. You have a desire. You have a want. Go ahead and express it. And I bet you will see a lot of like-minded people. Because whether we like it or not, we are human beings. We are similar in a certain way. I can tell you that there are some things that you've been thinking of. There are some things that you've seen in the society that's going on that you don't like. If you come out, you see a lot of people that will back you. You understand? So, but others will have a counter view. That doesn't mean others won't have a counter view.
Chris.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let me explain it because I've still got 2 more slides to go. Okay, go on, Jim.
I think the issue is with that word wants, because when we say, I think it's a bit ambiguous. Okay. Yes. No, not ambiguous. I wouldn't use the word selfish, because some people might want negative things. Boko Haram, they want to kill people. They can start promoting what they want. It doesn't make it right. Now, I think that we need to understand from the perspective we're coming from. We are talking about bringing the kingdom values into the world that we live in. This is the reason why we're here. So if we understand that, we need to now begin to align those wants to those kingdom values. Yeah, so I think that's where we're getting it mixed up.
Okay, I think this is something that we need to take as a challenge as individual, that we need to understand words. We need to understand the meaning of words
within context.
Yes, within context. And we've mentioned this several times. Dr. Sunday is mentioning. Dr. Sunday wants people to change their mindset, and he did something about that. Dr. Sunday wants people to know the truth about God, and he did something about that. That is a want.
It's not a need.
It's not a need.
For him.
Does he need that to survive?
It doesn't.
Does he need that to breathe? If you're thinking that if your want is to do something negative, right, then you have, you know, it's like, it's the same thing. If you, it's like saying that anything that anything that I desire, I do. You know, whatever you desire, you don't do. But you have to know what you want in order for you to set goals. How do you set goals if you don't know what you want in life? How do you set goals? How do you make plans if you don't know what you want? You knew that you want to come to Ukraine, right? And you took the action for that. So I'm not saying that you want cake and you eat cake every time. I'm not saying that you want chips or fries and you eat fries every time. It's going to make you obese. You can do that. But knowing what you want in life, knowing what you want to set as goals, knowing what you want as priority, knowing where you're going, not the case where you go into a room and they decide for you what direction you're going to go today. If you didn't know what you want today, for example, when you come here, you would just be waiting. Oh, what do you want us to do now? You know, what do you know, you have to know what you want in order for you to take steps. If you don't know what you want, other people will make the decisions for you. And you just be going like this. So it is important. I'm not saying everybody here wants food and they want cake and this person wants bread and this person wants this. You know, that's just, it's not part of, it's not, and this is to self-assertiveness. Do you understand?
Yeah,
so link what you want to self-assertiveness.
Because the example you gave, I don't think it's for self, because you say this is what you want and you still want to go ahead and achieve it. You understand? I hope I'm not drawing us back.
No.
Yeah, because you said you'll be able to ascertain what you want for self-assertiveness. Yes. And now you went further, say, like you gave an example, you will still go out to speak out because this is what you want. You say speak out for what you want. So I said, if all of us will start speaking out, and Chioma, from her explanation, I think I was able to be a little bit balanced, you know. That word want, other people might understand the way I am getting it, because that want is so big in the statement. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because from part of the place where I'm coming from, the example you gave might cause a lot of trouble. You understand? Because,
But I think it's also important. Okay, let's put a scenario like you want, like you're saying, okay?
Yeah.
I want something. Right, I speak out what I want.
No, like let's just use the example you gave.
Yeah. So I speak out what I want. You speak out what you want. Everybody in this room.
I might be against what you want also. So how are we gonna achieve it?
Yeah. So you're against what I want.
Yes.
I know what I want. Right. So if you're against what I want and we have to do something, then I wouldn't do those things because I know that this is not the direction I want to go. For example, if you go into an organization and they say, like somebody asked the question where, you know, you're in an organization, they do abortion, right? Yeah. I don't want to do abortion. I don't want to participate in abortion. I am not going to be there. If I didn't know what I want, I would say, okay, let me try this abortion and, you know, I don't know, you be indifferent. So you still have to know what you want in any case.
I understand when it has to do with personal goal, but what you want and is something you want to use, we've been talking about how to affect Africa. There's some things you want that you will never get answer to it because of differences in opinion. That's really what I'm trying to say.
Let's use this movement for example.
Yeah.
Are people against Dr. Sunday Adelaja or not?
Definitely, plenty.
They are against it. What he's doing is not a need. He doesn't need it to survive. It's a desire.
Now you've changed need and want.
No, that's what I'm saying. I say he doesn't need this movement to survive. It's not a need to Dr. Sunday. It's a desire, something he wants to see happen in his generation. He keeps saying it. I want to see it, but not everybody wants to see it.
So some people didn't follow.
I might not want to see it.
Yeah, but they will challenge you, but it depends on how can you stand your ground.
That's a
until
good
you make it
example,
happen.
actually.
That's a very good
Because
example.
Dr. Sunday,
How can
not
you stand
everybody
your ground?
support Dr. Sunday.
There's some things you don't even pursue. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay, I think Dr. Anu has something to say. We have less than 5 minutes. Okay, I think let's Dr. Anu say.
Add something, just something.
We've put a negative connotation to the
Want.
word want.
Yeah. And that's also, I think that's also born out of religion.
She cited an example. Which one? That's the example she gave. The gender thing.
Okay, let Dr.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
mean,
don't have to follow what I want.
Yeah, the first thing that we must also understand is that we are different.
Yeah.
And we cannot have similar ones.
At all.
All right. Just the same way we have different thumbprints, we have different. So I want to be different. But the only thing is that what is the underlining factor? What is initiating our thoughts? What direction is our thoughts going to, or our wants going to? And it's just by applying the same principle we've been learning, the principle of values, right? Yeah. So if your want or your desire is hooked and is anchored on the right values, you understand, you might have opposing, just like the example that Chris Al also mentioned. Some people would always have some contrasting ideas with you, but is it based on good values? Good. If it's based on good values and that's what you want, go for it, irrespective of your position. All right, that's the first one. And the second principle that I apply and I learned from Pastor Natalia is to apply the win-win-win principle. And what is the win-win-win principle? It is God wins, people win, and I win.
Yeah.
So whatever I want, would God be good with it? Is it fine for God? Okay, I go for it. And is it going to benefit people? I go for it. And will it benefit me also? I go for it. So if that's it, then that's fine.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on quickly,
He
please.
nailed it. Yes, good.
Thank you, Dr. Anu. So the book for this that I selected, of course, you can also select another book that would help you. I said, Read Yourself of Shallow-Mindedness, The Veritable Source of Energy. So these are all trying to help you to understand yourself, to understand the source of your energy. And I Am a Person, Am I a Personality? I think these books will help you with this area of development. So the next one. Okay, The Practice of Living Purposefully. This is very important. And the reason I chose this Nathaniel Brandon's book is because, the reason I chose this was because of this living purposefully. So you have to know that we need to live purposefully. I'm very big on living purposefully. I just don't want to live because I have done that for many years and it got me nowhere. So I decided that I know that it is important from God that we live purposefully because He brought us here for a reason, or He created us for a reason, and we need to create ourselves. But it is important for me to practice daily living purposefully. So I'll read it quickly. Develop short and long-term goals and make realistic plans to achieve your goals. So the key word for me here is realistic plans. So if you're not conversant or able or developed in certain areas, you need to develop those areas. You need to go and develop. For example, I want to go into government to change something, right? And I said, okay, my goal is by next year I'm going to be a politician, and I haven't even registered in any party. It's not realistic. You know, I'm not involving in anything to do with that. I'm not doing anything to engage anybody in what those my purpose is. So how am I going to do that? You have to set short-term goals for that thing, and you have to set long-term goals as well. You have to be realistic with what you have now. You know, this I can do now based on what I have, but I need this, and I need to develop this to get to the next stage of my plans. I'm moving on really quickly. And number five, there are 3 books that I've selected for this. Visionless life is meaningless life. Because if you don't have a vision, then you're not going to write any short-term goals or any long-term goals. And you're not going to be realistic because you don't even have any vision. There's nothing to say. Then there's who am I? Why am I here? This is one of my favorite books because this is the question. Who am I? Why am I here? Should actually be one of the books for this particular theme, because you have to always start everything with yourself. Ask yourself this question: who am I? Why am I here? And then number 3 book is How to Get What You Need in Life. So you need to know how to get what you need in life in order for you to be purposeful. So next one, number 6 slide. Okay, the practice of personal integrity. So this personal integrity is living up to your word and your values. I think a lot of us forget about this personal integrity, and this is a big thing because, you know, a lot of the time we don't know that the challenges and the problems that we have is because of the fact that we don't have personal integrity with ourselves. So if I tell myself that I am going to get up every day at a certain time and I don't get up at that time, I'm lazy about, that is going to affect me because I do not have personal integrity. This is not anything that anybody knows about. It is something that only I know. I didn't tell you that I'm going to get up early in the morning. You know, of course, that's integrity as well. But the key word here is personal integrity. This would affect me because I said to myself, tomorrow or every day, I'll wake up at 7, I'll have my shower, and I'll do personal study. If you don't do that, you're not going to have you're going to knock down one of your pillars of self-esteem, because what you tell yourself, you can't even achieve it. And if you tell yourself something that you're going to be a certain way, even though you didn't tell the world, nobody knew, you are affecting your pillar, one of your pillar of personal integrity. So that will make you feel, okay, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, and this will affect other things in your life. So this is a very key pillar, that if you don't have personal integrity with yourself, nobody needs to know. You are going to act out. You won't be able to question other people because you would always say things like, oh, I do the same thing in my mind. You know, some of the reason we don't challenge things is like, I don't want anybody else to challenge me. Those are the things, these are the conversations that we have in our head that is not allowing us to take actions. So the practice of personal integrity is really, really key. If you're going to take anything with you today, I think, for me, I will continuously work on this. It's a practice, but I will really work on this, where I would say, I want to do this at this time, and I must do those things at that time because I have personal integrity. Nobody needs to know. It's not a matter that I discuss with anybody. So finally, the books they are Stop Blaming What You Lack. You know, then How to Become Great Through Time Conversion. Could you be the Abraham of your nation, of your nation? I think those books also will help you with personal integrity. So I want to say, slide please. This was all the things I was going to, but I'm going to just end here. Okay, so this quote you hear a lot, or you see it a lot. You are a product of your environment. From now on, you're not a product of your environment, and your environment is your product. So you create your environment. If I come to your country and your country looks a way, or you're complaining about anything, That is what you created, because your country now, this earth, is your product. And if your product is not good enough, then it's your company, you yourself that made this what it is. So you're not a product of your environment. That is gone now, because you know better. Now your environment is your product. So is this the product that you're giving us? A fake iPhone? No. Or a fake this? So everybody, please, I want you to remember this. You're no longer a product of your environment. Your environment is your product. So that's it for today.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I'm waiting by the way to do that.
Okay, guys, once again, let's put our hands together for Mayowa. Thank you. Okay, friends, thank you for being with us online.
Beautiful. Magnificent.
Thank you for being with us online. This brings us to the end of the second section of History Makers Training, June 2018, day 5. And we are about to go to break here. We will be back at 2 p.m. Ukraine time. So don't go anywhere. Join us soon and see you. Bye-bye.